My name is Maria, and today I'm going to be telling you about all of my WAG horror stories. I do not in any way represent the brand or other WAG walkers. My opinions and experiences are my own and do not represent the company. This video is not at all to talk bad about WAG or to discourage people from doing WAG or from using WAG. It is actually just to share some of my experiences and share some tips so that other walkers can have a better experience with WAG. If you don't know what WAG is, it is a dog walking service and it's all on your phone. So you download the app, and if you have a dog and want it to get walked at a certain hour, you reserve that and then a walker will come to your home and walk your dog. You can either be there or you don't even have to be there and you leave the key somewhere for the walker to get and get your dog. This is great for people that work a lot and don't have time or the energy to walk their dogs, or maybe they just need a little break. And of course for the walkers, it is amazing because we get to spend so much time with dogs. I actually don't do WAG anymore at this moment because many reasons that I will get to in a bit. Yeah, I just wanted to come on here and share some stories I've had. Of course, I have hundreds of good stories. I walked hundreds and hundreds of dogs, maybe around 400. However, a lot of them were repeat dogs. I did it for about a year consistently, and then a second year not so consistently. I did get to see so many dogs and so many beautiful breeds. It was the best job I've ever had. I haven't had too many in my life, but it's been the best one. So my first 4 walks actually didn't go as smoothly as I would have wanted them to for obvious reasons. It was my first time doing WAG. I didn't really know what to expect, even though I had watched a few videos on safety, on what to expect, how to be the best walker you can be. I felt ready. However, I hadn't experienced it yet. I lived in San Francisco, and that, I think, in my opinion, is one of the best places to do WAG. WAG isn't really available in smaller cities. It's still there, however, it's harder to get walks because not a lot of people are using it. So if you live in a bigger city, it's more likely you get walks. There were a few days that there weren't a lot of walks, but for the most part, I was always able to find a walk that worked with my schedule. So my first walk, I had to use public transportation because I didn't own a car, which is what most people do in San Francisco. Public transportation is really big and really good. Sometimes it can be a little late. Of course, this for my first walk, the bus was a little late, so I arrived there a bit late, but I get there and on the directions it said to go to the lobby because it was an apartment complex. So go to the office and they would give me a key to their apartment. And I had to go all the way around the building and try to find their apartment. I was so nervous because I was already late. But anyway, I got there and it all went well. The day after that, I did another walk. So this was my second walk, and I walked a really big dog. Like, that dog probably weighed as much as me, if not more. That one was a little tough. I think she walked me instead of me walking her. The third walk I had was a similar problem to the first one. Getting there was a little tough because it was in another apartment complex, which was really complicated and it had like different sections. So I went into one section, but it wasn't connected to the rest of the apartment, so it was just very hard to find their apartment. Again, I was a little late because I couldn't find it. However, this had happened to other walkers. Eventually, I found the apartment and walked the dog. Now, my fourth was a dog named Princess, and she was a little princess. I had 2 problems with this one, actually. If the owner is not home, in most cases they weren't home, they would leave a little lock box with a code that they gave you and the key inside. So I was trying to put the code in, but it was stuck. Like, it wouldn't budge. I tried so many times and it wasn't working. So I ended up calling the owner and they said, oh, it worked yesterday with the previous walker. What ended up happening is the owner called the upstairs neighbor because they had a spare key. So they opened the door for me and I got to walk Princess. However, it was more like I got to carry Princess. She walked for about 10-15 minutes. The walks are usually 30 minutes long. And then she just laid on the floor and there was no way I got her to walk. I tried everything. I tried treats, but nothing. So I had to carry her back home. She got to see a nice view of the city. After those 4 walks, I was more comfortable with walking dogs. And then I thought, you know, After these, what else can go wrong? I was ready for anything. And in fact, most of the walks went pretty well. I did once in a while get a not so great one. At one point, I had this Fox. He was maybe almost 1 year old. He was a golden retriever, but he still had like that puppy face and the big paws. He was adorable. However, since he was a puppy, he was still learning not to eat food off of the floor. One time, we passed by a restaurant and he picked something up off of the floor. And I'm like, shoot, what did he pick up? I tried to tell him to spit it out and he would not. His jaw was just clenched. So I opened his mouth a little bit to see what's inside, and it was a foil ball. Like a foil paper crumpled up into a ball, like covered with some sauce thing. Ugh. If he swallowed that, that would have been really bad. I took out my treats, tried to have him smell that, but no, of course the ball smelled so much better than the treats. So I basically had to open his mouth and shove my hand almost down his throat to grab the ball out, and it was really hard because he didn't want to let go of it. I finally got it out and like threw it. I don't like littering. I would have much rather thrown it in the trash can, but at that point I just wanted to get the dog back home because we were already heading back, and my hand was covered in sauce and slobber and it was so gross. Luckily I carried with me a towel, so I cleaned my hand. After dropping off the dog, I went into a different restaurant and washed my hands. Luckily they were really nice and let me use their bathroom, and then I went home. Another experience I had, this one wasn't too bad. There was this dog I walked a few times in my neighborhood. He was really big. He was a little bit leash reactive. One time we were walking and out of nowhere a motorcycle comes. He tried to chase the motorcycle and I almost flew. This dog was really funny though, because when we would go to the park, there were a lot of gophers, so he would stick his nose in the gopher holes and just try to get them. It was hilarious. Luckily, he never caught one when I was walking him. Alright, so I thought I had charged my camera before recording, but apparently not, so it died. And now the light is ruining my background. Let's continue. The only other pretty bad story I have, other than the dog almost swallowing the foil ball, is one where a dog got loose. So what they warn you, and what I always did every time before I walked a dog, is check their collar. If it's too loose, I would tighten it up. You're supposed to be able to fit 2 fingers in, and that's the perfect size. So this dog's collar was very loose, so I tightened it and then we went on a walk. Also, I really like when dogs have harnesses instead of collars because it doesn't put any strain on their neck and it's just safer for them and the walker. So get this dog and we're on a walk. I read the comments, as I always do, of what the other walkers have put, and they all said that she tried to chase pigeons. So whenever we saw a pigeon, I would be careful. She had a very skinny head. So we were walking, and then all of a sudden, she starts doing this, the thing that dogs do. They're like, try to get her collar off. And since her head was very skinny, she slipped it right off and took off. At this point, I'm thinking, I can't believe I just let the dog run away. What do I do? What do I do? And all these thoughts are coming through my mind. I need to save this dog. I need to get it back. I need to grab it. I didn't want anything bad to happen to it. And I panicked and I started running after the dog. You're not supposed to chase it because it'll just run away. And then I calm down and I think, okay, Maria, calm down. So I stop running, I get on my knees and start calling her with a high-pitched voice and like excited, just like, come here, puppy, blah, blah. But I start calling for her and then I pull out a treat. And that's when she comes running to me. But I'm shaking and she finally comes to me and I grab her and I give her the biggest hug. So I put her collar back on and I walk her very carefully for the rest of the walk. And I wrote on the walk notes for all the walkers to be very careful that she tries to get her collar out. That was like the scariest moment. Other than that, I don't really have big bad stories. I have a few little things that happen here and there. Like once this dog, he couldn't wait to go outside and peed in the lobby, and it was a really fancy apartment complex. Another one, I walked this super buff bulldog. Okay, I've never seen a dog this muscular. Okay, he was like a bodybuilder in a dog. He was a really good walker, so like I didn't have any trouble with him, except for when we were trying to go back home. He didn't want to go back home, so he just laid on the ground and there was no way of me moving him. So what I had to do, I had the little bone treats. So I broke little pieces of it and made a little trail so he would get up, eat the next one, and lay down. And then I put another one and he would get up, eat it, and then lay back down. So it was a very long way home. There were these two dogs that I walked in my neighborhood. One of them was a pug. He was a little older, very slow walker, very calm, and the other one was a small poodle. Very young, very energetic, so my arms were always like this. The one dog wanted to use a lot of energy and go for a run, while the other one wanted to just take it slow. So that was a little bit hard to like compromise. I have one more. I locked myself out once. The way this person's house was, there was a gate, and then you would walk in, and then here was another door that would go into their garage, and then through their garage was their door that I would go in to get the dog. Got the dog, locked the door, locked the garage door from the inside because there were just so many keys that I didn't want to check each one, and then the gate locked by itself. So when I get back, I realized I wasn't supposed to lock the garage door. Since I had locked it from the inside, I couldn't unlock it. And at first when I got there, I thought the door was locked because one of the keys fit in there and it twisted a little bit, so I thought I had unlocked it. However, that wasn't the case, and I had locked myself out and there was no way of me getting in. I was so embarrassed. So I texted the owner, and he was at work, and he told me to check the upstairs neighbors. They have a spare key, but they weren't home. So he had to leave work and come open the door for me. Oh my goodness. I felt so bad. I did tell him that I will contact WAG so he can get his money back, or if he wants, he can contact them, whatever would make him more comfortable. And even though he was a little frustrated, obviously, he said that it's fine, like not to worry about it, he'll think about it. And then I saw that he gave me a really big tip and 5 stars just for staying with the dog there for 40 extra minutes. And I felt so bad and guilty, but I was so grateful. And I even got to walk that dog a few more times afterwards, so that was nice. Once I also got to a house and they had a little French bulldog, so cute. And he was in his cage, but he had pooped all over the cage. So I cleaned it all up, made sure everything was spotless. But yeah, those are pretty much all of my bad WAG stories. For the most part, again, it was wonderful. Everything went well. Sometimes it was a little stressful because of public transportation. I didn't have a car, so I had to rely on the city transportation, which for the most part, it was very reliable. However, it sometimes did run a little late. The reason I stopped working with WAG, since I didn't have a car, the transportation did take a while. Getting there and back to my apartment did take a lot of time off of my day. And then if I did multiple walks in a day, it would just be more time of transportation. So I decided to look for a job that was closer to my apartment, that would take less time to get there, and it would be a longer period of time that I was working, and then I could just get back home. However, I didn't stop completely doing WAG. I would still take walks around my neighborhood. One thing I forgot to mention is that since the pandemic started, I had to move to a different city, and here WAG is not too big, so I can't do it at all anymore. And also, I wouldn't want to go into other people's homes during a pandemic. It was such a good job. Like, I loved it so much. And I also got to meet my favorite dog in the entire world, and I would walk him every week. Actually, I think like twice a week. But that is all I wanted to talk about for now. Just some stories that I've had. Again, this wasn't to discourage anybody from doing WAG or from using WAG, just to spread a little bit more of awareness and sharing my stories so other people don't have to go through them. However, if you do want a dedicated like tips for walkers video, let me know, or any other WAG video you'd like. Also, if you have any questions, let me know. I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!